Welcome to Africa Discourse. I am Wilson Marshall. Well, today it's all about what is happening in Egypt. Yes, we all know about the pandemic, coronavirus, but some persons are according to a report, violating human rights. And they are just putting so many decedent, according to them, into prison. Former member of parliament in Egypt, yes, is among those that are affected by the clampdown on dissidents, according to the Egyptian government led by Al-Sisi. And you get to see many activists thrown in jail, many of them in large number put in a confined area. But saying that, Al-Sisi, do you want these guys to contract coronavirus for them to give up the ghost so they won't have any opposition? People are talking about this seriously, but what is the root cause of this, and how can Egypt be liberated if they are under bondage? Because according to Al-Sisi, he is fighting terrorism. With me here in the studio to talk about this, I have an honorable Rotarian, and of course a very top man. We talk about Scout. He's a businessman, an entrepreneur, a politician, one-time journalist, always a journalist. Join me to welcome Honorable Idubo. Honorable, welcome to Africa Discourse.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
All right. And sitting very close to him is a legal practitioner, a right activist, political analyst. Join me to welcome Barrister Henry Wanzo. Barrister, welcome to Africa Discourse.
Good afternoon, listeners. I'm waiting. You're welcome.
Right. Thank you so much for coming. Here we are again. The Messiah right now, in quote, is like giving so many persons bitter pills in Egypt, but according to him, he's doing the right thing. Former member of parliament also, they've been caught in the crossfire and they were sent to jail. Activists also that they put in jail, despite the fact that they are saying that social distances should be maintained, but in Egypt, that seems not to be the case. What can you make out of what is going on right now in that country? Knowing fully that Egypt also was the first country in Africa to record coronavirus. Take it up from there, Honorable.
Yeah, very honestly, when you talk about social distancing in jail, I don't know what that means.
It's not visible.
I mean, because once you are in jail, you are in jail. I mean, you don't have a right to determine whether you want to be separated from the other. But I think I understand why the activists were protesting. In Nigeria, for instance, chief judges are asked to decongest prisons. And it's just right. Because, you see, if you clamp people, you overcrowd the place, then you make it very feasible for infections. It is clear, the Egyptians, the few things I read about them, is that their prisons are dirty. And a dirty environment naturally breeds this kind of problem. So they were just saying, gentlemen, this place is not too conducive for the number of persons that are inside here. Reduce them. Those who want to try them. Don't just keep them here as if this is their home. So very honestly, they were clamoring to say, okay, fine, decongest this prison. Now we know we have this COVID-19. We cannot keep people here like this, decongested. And they were protesting very vehemently. But again, government doesn't like protest. Especially government that is tailored around the military. If it was a pure civilian government, maybe we will listen to, but a paramilitary government, because it will be difficult for them to understand. So they just don't like protests, so they saw those protests as trying to bring down government, which of course also happens here. They saw the protest. Any civil rights activist who is trying to protest, the belief is that such protests, if not, so to speak, checked, can go beyond what they are seeing. So they try to stop it by any means. That's why they were clamping everybody else. Okay, fine. Okay, I gotta say you are the one leading this protest, you go to jail. Barrister, you are the one leading this protest, you go to jail. Believing that if they take all of us that are leading protests out, they can have their way. So that's the point.
All right, but right now, people are saying that since the advent of COVID-19 in Egypt, more than hundreds and counting of persons have been sent to jail. despite the protests of what is going on right now in that country. Our Sisi is still so vicious when it comes to arresting, detaining activists. Even some former members of the of parliament, they are also in this category. So tell me, how can they really rectify this, if they can?
To me, at this point in time, you know, Egypt is the third most popular nation in Africa. After Nigeria, you have Ethiopia, then you have Egypt. And also, you know, it's an Islamic nation, where also the Arabic is part of their, well, let's say, their language too, as it were. Far back as 2009, September, October last year, crisis has always been there because the people wanted a better way of life for themselves and those of them who actually are Egyptians, as it were. But you see, the man who came into the helm of our affairs does not want to see it from that angle. You have the civil rights activists, Alanami and others, they have been agitating that the government is not doing what it's supposed to do for the people. They accuse the government of corruption, nepotism, and every other thing that has to do with it in ensuring that they have a better life for the people of Egypt, which they feel that Sisi and his men are not doing. And the government on their own are also seeing them from another angle, that their plans is to ensure that his government is brought down. That is the way they look at it, the government. So the government has decided that the only way out is to ensure that these people are kept out of circulation. It started as far back as last year and moving into this period that you now have the pandemic, as it were. So the government on their own, their primary concern is to ensure that these persons who are saying that no, the government is not doing well, the CC need to leave the government, as it were, that these people are clamped down. So keeping them in prison, as he has done, is one of the ways of putting out of circulation. But he's not putting into consideration, because a man who is in captivity is not talking about your freedom has been put at one point. The government on there are not looking at the issue of whether coronavirus is there or not. If you die there, better for the government, they will always have their way out. They can ascribe you that you died of a natural death, even if when it is very clear that it borders on the issue of the coronavirus.
Even in Benin, you know, maybe if you are pursuing a thief, the thief said, "Oh, I hit my head on the wall." Said, that's I want to kill you.
You are talking about your head on the wall.
I mean, I want to kill you. I want to break your head. So very honestly, elections are coming. So once elections are coming like this, since they came in as a messiah, he came as a messiah. They thought he was going to be a messiah. But again, once you taste power, the African mentality, you know, it goes into you in a manner that at times you wonder, is this not the same Magare say that was like this before? Because he now has this opportunity. He's not like this. And the man just believes that every person trying to oppose his government, if you are a threat to his existence, he thinks you are an enemy. And most of those who is arrested now, they believe that the man was not doing well. It's like, you know, if you have a president, for instance, who's not doing well, and there are about 30, 40 parties, okay, you take your own party out. The remaining parties can say, okay, fine, let's form a coalition to fight. This government must go. And they sit down to say, okay, fine, parties A, B, C, D to whatever, let's form a coalition, those who think alike. And once the government now believes that if you allow this coalition to stand or to stay, or to be actualized, then he will be in trouble. So he's been doing everything to ensure that everybody fingered in those things is arrested. And I will just bring one kind of charge that is not right. You know, you just lie and say, okay, I stole money, and they lie. So these are issues at times. And it's not just Sisi. I mean, most people do that. If you find somebody trying to oppose you and is so to speak, impairing your existence, then you look for a way to fight. Very unorthodox means. Some will say, you know, everything is fair. And they just look at it, oh, fine, okay, fine. I want to remain in power, and you want me out of power, then I must fight you in a manner that I will, so to speak, reduce your power. So that's what he's doing. All those he's fingering that are part of whatever meeting, he wants to get them out of there. But some parliamentarians too were also fingered in fraud. So it's not again an all bad butter. And those parliamentarians, even when Parliament decided to remove the immunity on that parliamentarian, they found out later that he did some few things which are not right. You know, it's like a drunkard. You know, at times the drunkard will tell the truth. But what's the drunkard? It's just a drunkard, don't mind. And he's telling the truth. So this parliamentarian was fraudulent because he took bribe. And they established that. And, you know, I mean, the Muslim, like my brother did say, the Muslim Brotherhood is a very powerful organization. A very, very powerful.
Yes.
And the belief is that many of these guys are trying to bring up the Muslim Brotherhood, finance them to the extent of being able to fight back. They will form their business in other countries that are hostile to Egypt, and they will just come and become powerful. And all those who are fingered at financing, so to speak, financing the Brotherhood, they say, hey, okay, fine, we are financing Brotherhood, they will fight you. So these are issues that...
So for what you're saying now, it's a fight against terrorism. Can you take it up from there?
Not against terrorism.
Yeah, because
perceived terrorism.
Yeah, but for what season said, he said this is a fight against terrorism. This is a fight against corruption. Okay. Now, but the thing is that for what he also said, look, Egypt is peaceful when compared to the time of Mosul. Check it up from that angle.
Yes, and you know, last week Mosul died, you know, when he was taken to court.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for the man passed on. And it has been part of the agitation of the people because they felt that the man has been maltreated, that the man was not well taken care of. Accepted, he has his challenges as it were at the time he was in government. But that is not enough to treat the man the way he was treated, and finally he died. The man said he's fighting corruption. Nobody is denying the fact whether there is corruption, there is no corruption. African countries, as it were, our leaders has always lived a life of corruption. Most of them, not all.
Not all of them.
Yeah, most of them have always lived a life of
not all of them.
Yes, most of them have always lived a life of corruption because of they try to acquire wealth to the extent to their great-great-grandchildren who they are not. Generations up to 10 generations, they will begin to gather money for them, build houses. The one man will have properties in all parts of the world. Some don't even remember where they have their houses and their cars. Some cars have not been driven in some people's cars for the past 10, 15 years. And the cars are there. So what we're trying to say is that the man accepted has raised the issue that is fighting corruption. But the issue of nepotism and others are there. He is clamping on those persons he feels, because these people, he looked at them that these were the persons who were there in 2011 when the revolution actually took place. These were the same people now. They are the ones mobilizing the people. Look at the women activists that he arrested. Those women who were claiming that the prison should be decongested. And that is the reasonable thing to do. Because people who are there in prison, if they are not well taken care of, if the coronavirus at its well gets there, automatically a lot of persons will go. That is it. So these women who actually were campaigning that certain things need to be done right, they were equally arrested by him. And other activists, as well as journalists. That's why the Amnesty International refers to Egypt as an open prison, because a lot of persons have been arrested. The moment you make a statement and the statement does not go well with them, automatically you are part of those who are planning or plotting that the government should be brought down. And again, you also discover that even for the fact that they try to ascribe that everybody is a member of the Muslim Brotherhood, because they see them as a strong force. And they also look at it from that way. If these people are allowed to continuously build up, as they are gradually building up with the agitations, as it were, what happened to Muslim Mubarak as well as Mosul will happen to him. So that is the fear the man has, because it's the same persons who were there in 2011, did all the mobilizations, as it were, ensured that those who were at that point in time were pushed out of office. That is what he said he's also seen. So he believes that the only way to do it, both reporters, lawyers, activists, for whatever thing, he has even gone to the extent of saying that some of them are being sponsored by those who are in exile. And those who are in exile, and again, some companies have been, I listened to the Interior Minister. The Interior Minister said that 19 companies has been a kind of linked to the Muslim Brotherhood. They are part of those ones that are financing them. So these are the fears, and he knows the consequences, as it were, that if the pressure continues, because they are not like us in this part of the world. Once they hear go, they don't come back. Ours, we can turn back and say, oh, take something. But this will not take anything. The moment they are able to mobilize enough force to ensure that the man is pushed to the wall, before you know it, the pressure will be on him. 1 week, 2 weeks, the people will be in the street. And before you know it, that will be the end of it.
Now, if you take a look at the situation, some of them are saying that they were not subjected to fair trial. Clamp, little investigation, straight up to jail. How do you really view this?
What is fair trial? What is subjective? It's subjective.
It's subjective. It's not objective, it's subjective.
What's fair trial?
When it comes to trial.
Depends on who is.
Who is trying and who is talking about fair trial too.
What is fair is, in this business, what is fair is fair. What is bad is, if the people think they were not fairly tried, who determines fairness? I mean, because the man is saying, you are a threat to my government. And listen, in this our own environment, somebody has been taken from the street to prison. We're taken from the street to prison. So very honestly, when you say fair for what? The man is saying you are disturbing my government. Fair trial. Which is fair trial where? So
but that is why Amnesty International is talking about this. They even liken Egypt to an open prison because of what is happening there.
Listen, let us not even. Let us not even. There is one fight going on in America now. I don't know if it was, but maybe that's another day. Some people who do some things in manners that are not right and fair. Some of those reporters, they report in a manner, some of them, that will ignite, and the journalists are very powerful people, because you can either set on fire or you can quench fire. And if you do, there should be some discretion. There's some things you don't report, because if you report some things, people didn't know, but you brought to their knowledge. So I mean, you should be able to look at, if I say this thing, even though it's the truth, but will it be beneficial to all of us? It could be the truth. But if I say it the way it is, will it save a situation? So very honestly, so they also had their own problems, and the man just said, look, come on, gentlemen. But even if not true, but report it in a manner that will not cause trouble for my country. But having said that, our leaders must be able to lead well, because if you lead well, you should not be afraid of opposition. No. If you have led your country well, if at the time they voted for you because they believed in you, and you derail, of course you should expect opposition. But if you don't derail and you try, there's no way you can get 100% support. No way. Even if you are Jesus Christ now, you won't get 100% support. You won't.
Even in his time, Judas was not.
So if you do well and you get 60% support, 65% support, perfect. But if you are a ruler and you're on the baseline, everybody's believing that you want to kill all of us. Bad governance, breeds opposition. So basically, all those who are opposing Sisi now, they believe that he has not done well, and he himself knows that he hasn't done well. Otherwise, there's no way the interior minister will be, fighting people. You don't need to fight people. If you are doing well, people will naturally gravitate towards you. You will not be struggling to
win their support.
No, they will naturally just gravitate. They will be the ones they will be your apostles. They will be the one fighting. You say he must come back. It is not you fighting the leaders. But I just think yesterday in Egypt, some military officers have joined this opposition. Yes, they joined. They joined the opposition. The 19 companies with their $15 million. Some soldiers joined them yesterday, but they had meetings with them. I said, but keep it secret. They were asking them, okay, can we I mean, okay, all soldiers now, they're not serving soldiers. Those retired officers, they say, can we mention your names in this? They say, no, keep our names off.
Now, that brings up another question. Do you see what happened to Morsi happening to Al-Sisi, knowing fully well that the retired soldiers, some of them are not even in tune with what Al-Sisi is doing?
Yes, because the man already knows. It's a system that has been operational for all this while. So he cannot claim to be ignorant of it. He knew quite well how he came to power. What he did with others to ensure that he is where he is today.
He came into democracy. He
Before now. Before now. He knew. They retired. How many persons actually, because he said he had democracy. He said he had 97% of the vote of the people. Are you sure that he had 97%?
Democracy.
It's democracy in quote, as it were. But the truth still remains that he knew how he came to power. Whether he came claiming that it was democracy as it were because he resigned and then, but that is a different kettle of fish as it were. But the truth still remains that in their system, quite like on other parts of the world, because these people, they have a kind of allegiance to these their religious leaders as it were. And this allegiance to these their religious leaders tends to make them to be committed to whatever thing they are asked to do. So this Muslim brotherhood, as well as these retired military officers, they command a lot of respect in their environment because people see them that they have served their nation meritoriously. They have done well, ensuring that the unity and the progress of their nation has remained intact. And these people, if they come out to say anything or join any particular group, at the end of the day, that group will always succeed because they look up to them as leaders. They look up to them as what you call them as senior citizens of their country who have laid out their lives at one point in time to ensure that their nation has remained united and move forward as it were. So that is the position as it is. Sure. So himself is afraid, knowing fully well that if these persons, as the thing is going, I know of the truth, if the pressure continues, the man cannot survive it because they are not like us here, who certain persons can call to the backyard, settle you, and then you quietly walk at home. I'll call your men and say, why should we consider? These are people, the moment you say go, they go. They don't give up.
They are believers.
They are believers. For whatever thing they say they want to do, they go ahead to do that. Their leaders will always be there at the forefront. They don't have rulers when it comes to this issue of their style. Because these persons are always there standing at the forefront, ensuring that which they believe, because they will try to plant it in them. They don't understand that this man said he's fighting corruption, is not fighting corruption. If you remember, there's a statement made by one of these construction experts, Ali. He said that he has constructed over 13 structures for LCC and his men in certain areas of which the government on their own part is finding it difficult to deny that the man has done. So if the man say I'm fighting corruption, you are building palaces here and there with the money, and you are fighting corruption with the money of the people.
Yeah,
all right. Now he raised the point, talked about the fear factor that Al-Sisi is acting out of fear. Is it out of fear or out of command?
He used commands to cover fear.
Command to cover fear.
Exactly.
Basically, if you are fighting people, you are afraid. If you're not afraid, you leave them. If I choose to fight you, for instance, if I see you as an impediment to my administration and I choose to fight you, it's out of fear. But I use my power to fight you. So very honestly, those fighting him now are believers. They believe in a cause that they must change the process. Once you change parliament, then of course you are in power. The parliament is the real matter now. That's the one they want to face now. And I see them doing that. If elections come today in Egypt, they would beat him hands down. Because the people who really are the politicians are saying enough is enough. No. And very honestly, I see them going ahead to, even if this one is putting them in jail. Yesterday, some old military officers joined. And those guys, if they come out fully to join, with their experiences on this side, military, experience in politics, if you combine, I don't see how he will survive it. But having said that, he is believing that he's in power. And I've always told people, also in power, fight your enemy and kill your enemy.
But that's not democratic.
No.
That's not democratic.
You don't even spare your enemy. Because once you think a man is an enemy, the only way is to fight him and kill him. Because basically, the kill now I'm talking about it's not physical killing, but you make sure he doesn't have power.
Politically speaking,
yes, he doesn't have power.
Capacitate him completely.
Anything that gives him power, you will try to fight those things. All the channels, if you're a rich man in Nigeria, and government decides to fight you, it's just to make one policy that will crumble your business. One policy, ma'am. One single policy.
And is that what our CC is doing right now in Egypt?
One policy will crumble your business. Yeah. If government wants to fight you properly, and you are an importer, and you are making so much money, okay, fine. They will come with one policy to stop.
That's important.
Yes. At the end of the day, you just run the ground. So basically, you can do, once you are in power, you can do anything. But basically, that's not all you should do. Try to administer well. That's my business. But people forget quickly. You will leave as president one day, and you will retire. And when you get back as an ordinary citizen,
what will you be remembered from?
That you kill everybody is not anything to talk about. So basically, let them say, oh, this guy was we had a governor here. People kept talking about him. Oh, this governor did this, this governor did this. When he died, they say, this is the last governor we have.
Wow.
Wow. Well, gentlemen, we can go on and on. I know you have so much to say, but take a look at the time. Our time is up. It's an abridged version. Not too worried. There'll be time for us to really expatiate on this. Let's see what will happen in Egypt. Let's just see how our CC is going to really pilot the affairs of that country. I appreciate you once more, gentlemen. Thank you so much for coming. Bye for now.